Hi, we're back again, and you can see we have a lot of material Thomas has brought in, and I don't know if we're going to cover it all, but I was going to start with some of the simple things, and these are things that you're going to be using in your own garden or home gardens like we use. You might even use them on commercial properties, but I don't know if you'll be using them if you're civil service. The civil service, you have all kind of public coming into the park, and they're very leery about using lots of these different materials. There are a lot of people that are against it, and some of them in the past have been dangerous, okay? So I will also explain to you in all my years, starting when I was 9 years old, probably in 1944, I worked with my dad. A lot of the things I have been exposed to are all off the market. We used to use lead and arsenic, and that was put on apples so you wouldn't get worms in the apples. So, you know, that is one. A lot of people worry about it, but you had to eat a ton of apples, you get sick. But the people that got sick were the farmers that were putting it on. They were bathing in it every day when they were spraying, and the one symptom that you had, you got a black tongue. So the doctors up in the valley and everything, all they do is tell you, put your tongue out, oh yeah, you got lead poisoning or lead arsenic. So that came off the market. And then the next thing they brought out, we found out 20 years after that, that was bad. So I have all these materials I'm going to show you, but it's up to you whether you want to use them or not. And I want you to be able to, if you work for Mrs. Jones, look out for Mrs. Jones. Mrs. Jones buys a lot of these things and puts them on a shelf. She doesn't even know what they are. And the salesman told them how good they are for her garden, and they're going to want you to put it on. So a lot of times I used to go to work for these people, and they give it to me, and I went to college, I was smart. You read the label. I read the label, and I said, oh God, this has got arsenic in it. I can't use this. Or it had a skull and crossbones on it. I can't. And she's, a little old lady says, oh, I use it all the time. And I said, well, we can't. You know, this is dangerous. She takes it from me, and she goes to pour it down the drain, and no, you can't put it down the drain. What am I going to do with it? Well, in those days, we didn't know what to do with it. So I used to tell them a lot of times, you know, maybe it was wrong. I said, mix it according to directions and put it along your fence line where there are no plants, no nothing. If any insects come in, you probably kill them, but don't put it down the drain and don't use it, you know. And so, to be honest with you, I had some material in my cabinet at home from my business. I had it for 40 years and never used it. You know, I got sold by somebody to buy it, and then once I saw what it did and everything, I never wanted to use it, so it just sat there. And then luckily they came out at the garbageman's dump that you could dispose of this legally. You have to sign they show your driver's license and your address, and then they'll take small amounts and you can get rid of it. So be careful when you buy stuff. You only buy after you read the label. Don't listen to the salesman, okay?
Hey Gus, these days to apply materials, you need some kind of a certificate or a license or something?
Yeah, well, if you're a gardener, a self-employed gardener, you have to have a license now. And what color? A green card?
It's like a qualified applicator license?
Yeah, that's what it is. And we used to go by colors. And before they had that, I used to read the law. And so I used to go to Gardeners Convention, where I'd have a room with 300 people in it, and I'd tell them that we had to have a gardener's license that would allow us to spray, because I said the state law says we're supposed to be license to spray.
Okay.
And I said, if we don't do it on our own, somebody's going to impose it on us. Oh, I was there with mostly Japanese at the time, Japanese Americans, and they bring their high-priced lawyers up, and they told me I didn't know what I was talking about, and I'm reading right out of the manual from the state of California, word for word. No, it doesn't mean that. I didn't want to say it out loud in front of 300 people, but this is English, and this is what it says. So anyway, we never got our license, and then the state of California came in and imposed it. And you had to have this qualified applicator license, and it has ongoing ed. So every year you have to do so many classes to keep your license up. You have to pay a fee, and you have to be insured, you know. And so a lot of gardeners that in our gardeners group, they decided, I'm not going to spray. It's cheaper. I don't have to take a class, because classes cost money. I don't have to pay a fee, and when you get insured, it costs more than your regular insurance on your business. So you just tell the people, I'm not licensed. You'll have to get a licensed person to spray your garden. And the big tree firms all have spray people on their staff, and you could hire them, you know. But anyway, after this thing with the convention, I went out with another gardener here, went to school here, and we went out and we wanted to get a spray operator. And you can get a spray operator license. This means you could advertise. If you get the applicator license as a gardener, you can't advertise. All you can do, it's incidental to your work. I'm going to take care of your whole garden, and I'm going to include spraying. But I can't say, I'll work for Mrs. Jones next door and I'll spray for her. You can't do that. You have to work, it's got to be incidental. So anyway, I went out and got my spray operator license, and when you have a license, they also come and inspect your truck. They want to see your equipment, and every couple of years they want to inspect how you apply. You know, so gardeners do not make a lot of money spraying. Our main thing is pruning, cleaning, doing all these different chores, and incidental is a spraying. We don't really make a lot of money doing it. So a lot of gardeners feel it's in the long run, don't do it. You don't have no inspectors coming to look at you and everything. So keep that in mind. You know, even if you're a student, if you charge for what you're doing, you're supposed to have a license. If you do it for free, like a homeowner, he doesn't have to have a license. He could buy stuff that me as a licensed contractor, I can't buy. And the state watches me, they inspect me, they want to see all the material you use. And they inspect your house or your shop, okay? So the licensing is quite a complicated thing. Once you have it, you want to keep it, you know, because going through the test all over again is a lot of bother, so you do that. So anyway, today, what I wanted to talk about, the simplest things first, and snails and slugs. This is, most of you, or a lot of you, will have bedding plants in your jobs or something, or plants low to the ground. You may have vegetable gardens. You may be a homeowner. You just have vegetable garden. Slugs and snail do more damage probably than any other insect quickly. You know, I had a job once up on Forest Hill. I put in 2 flats of baby marigolds, French marigolds. They were only about this tall. And what happened, I put them in, and it was the end of the month. I sent the bill, and the client calls me up and she says, I got a bill for 2 flats of French marigolds. Where do you plant them? I said, right outside your front door. She says, there are none. I said, I can't believe that. So I went back, nothing, right to the ground. They were eaten right to the ground. I dig around my finger and you can see the little stems below the ground. And so you should know, slugs especially, plus snails, they don't come out to eat during the daytime. They come out at night. And a lot of times they don't come out early in the evening. They wait until midnight when nobody's around. And no other birds or anything can get them. And they're out there foraging and they're eating up all your plants. So that's when we came out with some kind of snail bait, okay? This one here is called Corey's. It's been around for a long time. Before, I think we still have, Thomas, we still got baguetta and things like that on the market.
Is that a metaldehyde or something?
It used to be, but I think they have different material in it now. This is a pellet, and you just sprinkle it around your plants. What we have found a lot of time, if you've got plants that kind of grow like this, really thick, lift them up and throw a couple underneath that, because that's where they hide out. You know, and then they come out and eat at night. Well, get them right where they live. Throw a couple pellets underneath. Takes a little bit more work, but I'll tell you why we did that. You know, we had a student here who worked for us, and we told her to put out the snail bait, and we used to use pellets. We used to use Corey's, which was a powder, and it said put it out in little piles. That's how you put it out when it was a meal. Well, we gave her the stuff that was pelletized. She put those in little piles. The client had little Pomeranians, dogs, and they thought it was kibble, and they ate it. And 3 of them ended up in the hospital, almost died. By then, Robert was taking over my business, and the lady contacted him, and she said, what should I do? He says, send them to the doctor and send me the bill. You know, so the lady did that, and they were all right. And next time we get together, I'll finish this story, because this is a great story. So we're running out of time, so I'll see you in a few minutes. Bye-bye.